Good morning. It's Kelly Cooper. I'm here today for my informative speech on the physical and chemical properties of water and how they contribute to our life here on Earth. Before I get started today, I'd like to share with you my resources for this informative speech. I have four. The first is the USGS, which stands for United States Geological Survey's Water Science School website. The second is the Vision Learning website. The third is the Arkansas Government Waters Property website. And the fourth happens to be my personal favorite, and that's the livestrong.com website. I'll share with you the exact website addresses at the end of the presentation in case you're interested in follow-up. To get started, there are so many unique physical and chemical properties that make up water. Those properties certainly contribute to the importance of water here on life, for our life here today on Earth. But I think first we need to understand what exactly is water. Water is an abundant natural chemical consisting of H2O molecules. Water has physical properties that refer to the thermal properties of water, and chemical properties, which refer to the reaction of the water with other substances. Did you know that the Earth today is approximately 70% water? How much would you think our human body is composed of water-wise? I didn't know the answer to that. But interestingly enough, it's very close to the amount of water that is on our Earth today. The human body is said to be approximately 65% water. That is incredible to me when you stop and think about it. Water is found throughout the body, where it occupies most of the volume of our body fluids, cells, and tissues. Water has a neutral pH of 7, which is neither acidic nor basic. Water changes its pH when we dissolve substances in it. Rain has a naturally high acidity at about a pH of 5.6 because it contains natural derived carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. There are many different forms of H2O, and I'd like to demonstrate a few of those for you. First, there's the solid, which looks like this. I'm sure many of you have seen ice. That's solid. The solid state of ice becomes denser when cooled, thus that's why it forms ice. Water is many of the few substances where a solid state can float on its liquid state. This is because water continues to become denser until it reaches 4 degrees Celsius. After it reaches 4 degrees Celsius, it becomes less dense. This is reflective in the ice cubes. Ice cubes are frozen or solid states of water, yet they float in the liquid state on top of a glass of iced tea, proving they are less dense than the liquid form of tea they are floating in. Secondly is the liquid state of water. The liquid state of water simply is what we're used to, and that's typical water. The liquid state of water is able to move around at room temperature much quicker than a solid state because the molecules form few hydrogen bonds and the molecules are packed much more closely, thus allowing for quicker movement. Even though water molecules exist in liquid form over an important range of temperatures, it is still important to note that water at liquid room temperature makes a unique compound with molecules of a similar atomic composition. Finally, the last state of water would be the gas state or the steam state. I hope you can see the steam coming off of the boiling water that I prepared. The gas state or steam state of water becomes as it boils the hydrogen bonds and the bonds are broken. Steam particles move very fast and far apart, so hydrogen bonds don't have time to form. The lack of hydrogen bonds explains why steam burns are so much worse and cause so much more pain than just from hot water. I don't know about you, but I never thought of it that way. Another unusual fact about water is in the boiling point and the freezing point. Even though water is small in molecular weight, water has an incredibly big boiling point at 100 degrees Celsius. This is because water needs more energy to break its hydrogen bonds down before it can begin to boil. The same concept goes for freezing as well, and that being at 0 degrees Celsius. Some of the physical properties of water include water as a universal solvent. Water can dissolve many things because of its polar bonds. It can absorb large varieties of chemical substances, salts, and other ionic compounds, as well as alcohol and organic acids. By being able to dissolve solvents, this enables water to carry nutrients in runoff, infiltration, and groundwater flow. Water is also the solvent that transports the essential molecules and other particles around the body, such as nutrients and waste products from our body's metabolic processes. Another physical property of water is the fact that water can act as a lubricant to reduce friction between moving surfaces. This is essential in many parts of the human body, especially in the thoracic and abdominal cavities, where internal organs are present next to each other and often slide and move around as our bodies move. Water acts as a lubricant for our joints as well as our bones, our ligaments, and our tendons, which all need to move smoothly between each other without friction. Another physical property of water is that water can absorb large amounts of heat before it begins to get hot. This allows large bodies of water to help moderate the temperatures on Earth. The thermal properties of water are important to both humans and animals. Since water accounts for a significant portion of the animal and human's body, this thermal property helps our bodies cope with the environmental temperature changes and maintains our body's temperature within a safe range. We see this in the form of sweat. The evaporation of sweat from the surface of our skin is very effective in helping to cool down the body because it removes large amounts of heat from the body as the sweat evaporates. Water also has a high surface tension, which means it is adhesive and elastic and tends to aggregate in drops rather than spread out as films across surfaces. This high surface tension allows the formation of water droplets, which allows plants to move water from their roots to their leaves. A few other physical properties of water include its transparency to sunlight, having a relatively high density compared to air. It's difficult to compress and can conduct electricity when it dissolves ions. The chemical properties of water include the fact that water H2O is comprised of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. The hydrogen atoms are attached to the one side of the oxygen atom, resulting in a water molecule having a positive charge on the side of the hydrogen atom and a negative charge on the side of the positive atom. Another chemical property of water is the hydrogen bonds in the frozen waters. Those are what makes ice float as well, because hydrogen bonds takes a lot longer to heat the water temperature. This results in living organisms beneath the waters being able to maintain their necessary internal temperatures for survival. So with all these facts about water, learning about physical and chemical properties, how does that roll up to the importance of water on life? For us to survive on the earth. First and foremost, since our bodies are over 65% water, There would be no survival without water. Secondly, many organisms such as fish live in water. They would be unable to survive that as well. And lastly, because the earth is covered with 70% water, there would be no survival whatsoever for living organisms or humans if there was none. Finally, just a few facts of the importance of water to our human bodies. Since our bodies are mostly water, it is important to understand how much water we have within our bodies. So, our brains, about 85% water. The blood flowing through our veins, about 90% water. Our bodies cannot manufacture water on our own. It relies on us to replace the water daily through waste as well as activity. Scientists state without a doubt that all the water in the world means life. So I promise to give you my resources. I know I'm a little over on time. I hope you don't mind. The http water.usgs.gov website for the USGS Water School. The Arkansas Government Water Properties website is www.geology.ar.gov. The Vision Learning website is visionlearning.com. And finally, my favorite, like I said before, livestrong.com. Why is water important to living organisms? If you Google that, you'll find that and many more facts in which I presented today. I hope you enjoyed my talk.